back from the breakout rooms, and thank you. In my breakout room, it was very active, so I'm expecting a lot of ideas and feedbacks from the different breakout room. Thank you for that. So now I'm requesting that we invite the repertoires for each of the breakout room to kindly give us a summary. Now we wanted to, because of time, we would like it to be concise and to the point, and the ideas that we can learn from, which was shared within the breakout rooms. Allow me to request that we begin with the University of Embu, and then we'll proceed to University of Ghana, and then finally Rongo. So can I request the repertoire for the University of Embu to kindly, in 3-4 minutes, share with us the collective ideas that can be drawn from that group, that breakout room.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is 𝗪𝗵𝘁, and we are the 3 challenges that face the online teaching. One is students don't get continuous assessment test scripts after marking and not doing review. And number 2, heavy grading loads from lecturers and passing through 200 scripts. Sometimes it becomes difficulty, and yet one has got other units to teach and pass through the same mode. And number next is providing timely individualized feedback. So because of time, we have suggested a few. So one, it came out that feedback is actually required from both the ends, that is from the students and from the lecturers, so that they can assess whether the students have acquired the content and whether also the lecturer has passed the information that is required. So solution number 1 is to categorize the numbers into small groups like 10. Each group to have maybe 20 students, and then choose a real problem and let the students handle it. And as a result, you can apply the peer assessment, where the lecturer can give a question or a questionnaire, and then their colleague students can assess and give feedback on this. And as a lecturer or a teacher, you can be in a position to grade based on the views given by the learners. It also came out clearly that giving assessment feedback as an evidence is an evidence that teaching has taken place, and therefore it is very important that the feedback is given. And another solution here is to have a course outline that outlines all the topics that you are supposed to teach for that whole semester. And then in each topic, a question or an assignment is given, and as a lecturer, you can assess those questions interactively, like setting a group, online group, like the one that has just been set. You let them, you let the students discuss and come and report. We can have representatives from those groups, and then you check whether the students have understood, and through their reporting, you can grade them. So finally, we may have a student, in this case, is required, or a teacher is required to ensure that the learners, especially in those that are teaching teacher trainees, you ensure that they acquire the content that you teach and also the pedagogical skills. And in this case, you can as well divide the lesson into two parts where you as a lecturer, you first teach, not just lecturing, you teach. And the second part, you do the tutorials. Let's say in a class of 150, we may have the teacher grouping them into 15 groups, and each of the group is expected to say something, and then they are scored. Because of limited time, that is what we were able to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian Malonzi. Thank you for that. Very, very informative. Thank you so much. Allow me to now invite the rapporteur for the University of Ghana Business School. Again, I'm requesting 3 minutes, 4 minutes at most, so that we can make the most of time. So I believe that was Andrew.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Andrew, please go ahead.
Okay, so in the breakout room for the University of Ghana Business School, we looked at two of their major challenges, which were sustaining the engagement throughout the class and also some of the methods to deal with disciplinary issues that tend to occur in large class sizes. So the first issue on sustaining student engagement, one of the more common suggestions was breaking continuous lecturing. So let's say you have a class of about an hour and 30 minutes. The suggestion was that you do not teach for the entire 1 hour. You don't lecture for the entire 1 hour, but take brief intervals of delivering the academic contents and then allowing students to engage in some shape or form. This could be through presentations or using games or digital content such as online quizzes or Kahoots, just to keep the students engaged. And this could also be related to the course content, so that just for the people who've dropped off, they could come back into the main flow of the lecture. Another suggestion was to use competency-based learning, where you sort of randomly assign class members into groups, so that students in the groups can engage with each other, and the group should not be made of people who already know each other or colleagues who are friends, but just random, so they could get to engage with each other and be sure and know that at the back of their minds, the lecturer could just randomly pick a person to present on behalf of the group, so that this can keep them engaged and on their toes. And in tackling the issue on disciplinary measures, there were a number of suggestions. One from the University of Embu was that sometimes you can use dialogue to settle disputes between students. So Dr. Hezron made an example of students who had sort of verbally abused each other, but instead of handing them sanctions, he took the parental approach of inviting them and having discussions with them. And the result of this is that they've gone on to become friends even after their graduation from the school. Also looking at disciplinary issues regarding attendance and lateness to classes, there were a number of suggestions. One of them included the 10 minutes before class rule, where students are mandated to be in classes 10 minutes before they start, and if they do not appear in the classes at the set time, they are regarded as absent, and a number of absences will affect the ability to write the final exam. Another suggestion was incentivizing attendance. And so one of the examples shared was that sometimes after students are done with majority of their coursework, they are not incentivized to come to class. But one thing that a member shared was that you can continue giving them maybe incentives such as marks, 2 marks in addition to their coursework. And the result is that some of the students will keep coming to class once they see that this is the benefits they can attain from coming to class. So these were some of the key discussions we had in the University of Ghana.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Andrew, for those articulate words. Thank you. They're very insightful. Allow me to invite the rapporteur for Rongo University. And again, kindly keep it within 3 to 4 minutes because of time. So the rapporteur for Rongo University.
Hi guys, my name is 𝗪𝗵𝘁.
Hi, how are you? Please go ahead.
I'm good. Yeah, so Rongo University problems that were raised included limited student participation, delays in the feedback on the assignments, and as well as handling of the large classes. Right, so on handling of the large classes, there was a suggestion that you reduce the number of students, you put them into groups. So you can put them in groups of 10, 5, depending on the size of the class. There was also another suggestion that it can also be good to get teaching assistants. You can call them like faculty assistants or graduate assistants. And the other thing that you can also do is you can use think, pair, and share. Pair 2 students together, ask them a question that they can ask each other. Then they come up with a solution. So that is think, pair, and share. So the other problem, the second problem of delays in feedback on assignments, there's need to automate the grading system and use of rubrics. Yeah, so the rubrics should be able to be clear, detailed rubrics for subjective assignments. And these rubrics should be shared with the students. Then the third problem, which is the students do not know how to mute or unmute. The solution should be create a quick guide to students on how to mute and unmute, as well as the lecturer can be able to do a demo at the beginning of the class. It's an online class. You should be able to take the student through on how to use the session. As well as during the class, the lecturer can be able to also post reminders to the students. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Rahema. Thank you. Allow me to thank all our rapporteurs. Thank you so much for those summaries. They were excellent. And allow me to also thank all the participants in the breakout room for the rich contributions. It is definitely clear that even though our institution might face similar challenges with regards to large class pedagogy, there are definitely unique experiences and creative approaches that have emerged in the different contexts within the groups that we've seen. And several of these are quite authentic and unique. Some of them we did come across already, and there are definitely many that we will incorporate now in the project. So thank you so much for this eye-opening insight. Now, we would like to open the floor for questions and reflection. This, of course, is an opportunity to try to get further engagement with regards to the presentation earlier, as well as insights that you actually have from the breakout sessions. Also, feel free to raise your hands, or you can even post your question in the chat. And of course, we'll get to you in order to attend to those questions. Let's keep the questions and the comments as concise as possible so that we can accommodate as many voices as possible within the limited time we have. We have a few minutes left, so allow me to open the floor. Any questions, comments, or reflections, do not hesitate. Okay.
Yes, Chair, facilitator. Can I just inquire something?
Please go ahead, Hezron. Go ahead.
It's about a publication because there's a large class that we thought, and what we did is that we collected a lot of information from a group of around 280 students, asking them a number of questions on what influences their concentration, what are the key factors, what is a rich database that we have. We have a draft manuscript, and I'm wondering whether we can put it together and submit it to Sotel or what would be your advice? Because we believe that it's the rich information that we got from the students, asking them a whole variety of questions, and the responses were quite interesting. So where can we channel that paper to?
Thank you very much for that, Hezron. Allow me to request Dr. Olive, our in-house expert for 𝘁𝗁. Dr. Olive, please.
Thank you very much. So when we talked about 𝘁𝗁, it is focused on teaching experiences or practices in the lecture room and then sharing them, as well as with solutions, reflecting and then disseminating. So you can share your paper with a 𝘁𝗁 publisher. There are a number of them. I mentioned there's one on the continent and within the Education Collaborative Network. That's the one at 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃. You can by all means talk to them and they will advise on what you need to include in order to make your paper eligible. But there are also many other 𝘁𝗁 publishers across the continent and globally. Prof. Oltai, I also saw a question in the chat. Someone was asking how we chose the institutions. How did we choose the piloting institutions? So we chose institutions that have large classes and they had to be public institutions. And we also wanted them spread across East and West Africa. We didn't want them only in one area. And you know, for 𝘁𝗁, context really matters. So that is how we came up with 𝘀𝗵𝗁. And then there were also universities that were already within the Education Collaborative Network. So we chose 𝘀𝗵𝗁, Rongo, and University of Ghana. They have large class sizes and they are public institutions. And of course, they were also willing to participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olive. There's another question from the chat from Dr. Peter, and he's asking, do you think the findings and the recommendations, if any, from the research can be implemented in our public universities across the continent, I believe, the continent? So can I request Professor 𝗀𝗀 and maybe Dr. Olive, if you have an addition? Professor 𝗀𝗀, please go ahead.
Thank you, Prof. Olotayo. Thanks to Peter for the question. Obviously, to generalize what we find in the pilot requires to have started off with a representative sample. But even still, if there are issues which are really related, I think some aspects can actually be generalized across. But this is a pilot, and the selection, I wouldn't say that the selection was random and representative, but I think the main aim is to get into what really happens on the ground, the dynamics of what is transpiring, and that can help inform even other institutions. So we extrapolate with the caution.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Dr. Olive has anything to add to that? Yeah.
Okay. Actually, there's another question, and for the sake of time, maybe I would request Dr. Olive. This is a good one, and the question is from 𝗀𝗁𝗃, forgive my pronunciation, and it's asking what number of students is considered a large class? Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Oltayo, and the person who asked the question. Of course, what is a large class can vary from one institution to another and from one discipline to another, because what is large in mathematics may not be what is large in social sciences. So they really vary. But for purposes of our project, we looked at a large class as a class of 250 to 500 students. That is what we considered for our project, but with the recognition that what is a large class can vary from institution to institution and from discipline to discipline. But we also recognize the challenges in our public universities. So we wanted to help them because these large classes are not going to go away. They're here with us. They're here to stay. So how best can we improve student outcomes for these large classes?
Thank you very much.
And then someone asked a question to add on to what Prof. 𝗀𝗀𝗳𝗲 was asked, whether universities across the continent can implement these pedagogies. Yes, of course you can, subject to completion of the project. We are coming up with solutions, like this workshop which we've had here. We've gotten solutions. We are getting solutions from the institutions. We are co-creating, and context matters. Now, once everything is on board, we'll get a training manual and we'll be able to roll it out for every institution to be able to implement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olive. Our time is actually up, but there's one here that I think we can at least try to quickly squeeze in. It's big again, but the question, when implementing innovative teaching methods in large classrooms, how do you effectively measure student engagement and learning outcomes, especially given the difficulty of proving individualized feedback? Could you share specific scalable techniques you found successful for both assessment and maintaining student accountability? And that's from Mr. 𝗀𝗀𝗃. I know this is something that is yet to come when the entire project is now done, but I don't know if you can, a quick word into it as we conclude. Dr. Olive, and then
Prof. 𝗀𝗀𝗳𝗲, say a quick word to that as we conclude.
Well, I would think the key would be to integrate LMS or tech, because this is it's quite a provocative question, but it's very good, thought-provoking. But I think the answer has to be in how to measure this. We have to involve technology because of the large numbers. If you do a poll or something like that, at least you'll be able to look at the records of from the LMS records, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor 𝗀𝗀𝗳𝗲. Thank you, Dr. Olive. Thank you for the exceptional presentation and the responses. And thank you, more importantly, to the participants for today. Thank you for so much insight you've given us into this project. Of course, there's a lot of comments in the chat, and I'm sure there are questions which will reach us eventually, and we will respond to them. But for now, allow me to thank you so much for making this worthwhile. I hope the conversation will continue in our institutions and networks long after today. On that note, this concludes the Q&A. Allow me to hand it over to Ado for the next activity. Thank you so much, and have a lovely time as we proceed from here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
so
much, participants.
Thank you to the Cavendish University team. Thank you, Dr. Sabiti. Thank you, Prof. Olutayo, and thank you, Prof. 𝗀𝗀𝗳𝗲 as well. Thank you so much for the high levels of engagement. There are so many questions that we, unfortunately, due to time constraints, were unable to get to, but you're welcome to still continue the conversation online. And then share whatever questions or insights that you still have regarding this conversation. Thank you all so much once again for connecting with us. I'd like to share a few announcements before we end the session. So the Education Collaborative is hosting its first ever Southern Africa convening, and this was scheduled from January 14th to the 16th in Botswana. So we kindly invite our Southern African institutions to sign up and join us. This is an opportunity for you to connect with higher education leaders, faculty, policymakers, industry experts to really strengthen collaboration, prepare graduates for meaningful impact, and collectively reimagine education systems in the Africa region. So the link to register has been dropped in the chat. So you're welcome to click on it and then fill out your registration For those who are also interested in joining the Faculty Development and Research Committee of Practice, after this session, we would share an invitation link for you to join this community of practice. And finally, an evaluation form for this session has also been placed in the chat. So we kindly ask that you take some time to fill it out. Once you log off this session, it would also pop on your screen. So just take a few minutes kindly to fill it out. It helps us to improve our service delivery and also to meet your needs. So we are going to take a quick picture so we can keep this session in memory. So I kindly request that you turn on your cameras if you are able, and I'll take 3 shots to seal the session. So I see a few cameras on. Thank you. We want some big smiles so we can.
I cannot start my camera. The camera says you cannot start your video because it is disabled by the host.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Just a moment. All right, please, are we ready?
We don't see Bernard. We see.
I have turned on.
I think my camera. I don't know.
Let's have some.
I think my smile is going away.
Hi, Dr. Xavier.
Hi, for video.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for indulging us. Right. So we hope that you do enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, depending on where you're connecting with us. This was brought to you by the Faculty Development and Research Committee of Practice at the Education Collaborative. Do have a great rest of your week. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Education Collaborative was envisioned by 𝘀𝗫𝗄 University back in 2016 when we, in thinking about our skills strategy as a university, we asked ourselves, how quickly can we really bring about this African Renaissance if we're just doing it within ourselves at 𝘀𝗫𝗄 University? So in thinking around this goal for transformation, we asked ourselves, could we rather bring along other institutions on the continent who buy into this similar vision to work together to really rapidly and quickly scale the outcomes for students on the continent. And so in achieving that, we've had to, work through the differences in culture, the differences in context, the differences in types of institution, right? So those have really been our biggest challenges. And in tackling that, we've had to take a very organic approach to building the relationships and the connections that we've established in the Education Collaborative. So I would say the university leaders really have been our biggest ally, working through the kinks together, working through how to collaborate